The war began when the Galaxy Council's peacekeeping fleet entered Sol system without warning. 600 alien ships expected to find primitive, frightened humans begging for their lives. Instead, they found hell waiting for them. Admiral Kate Sullivan smiled as her sensors detected the massive alien formation coming out of hyperspace near Jupiter. All units, this is Sword Command. Begin Plan Damocles. The first attack was not with weapons, it was with words. As the alien fleet moved toward what looked like defenseless Earth, their communications filled with human military chatter. Titan Squadron, you are cleared to fire. Deathwing, begin attacks on command ships, all batteries. Prepare for coordinated strike. Counselor Zethka was aboard the flagship Eternal Justice when he heard the human transmissions. Something felt wrong. Where are their ships? Our sensors show almost no defenses. His tactical officer, a nervous alien called Quantari, checked his readings again. Sir, I detect massive energy sources, but I cannot find what is making them. The attack began with the asteroid belt. What the aliens thought were normal space rocks suddenly revealed themselves as hidden weapons platforms. Hundreds of camouflaged railgun batteries fired at the same time, sending metal projectiles at incredible speeds toward the alien formation. The first wave of alien ships died before they knew what hit them. But the real surprise came next. The asteroids themselves started moving, not floating like normal rocks, but accelerating with purpose and direction. Commander Grace Wong's engineering teams had spent 3 years turning the largest asteroids into mobile fortress platforms. Each one carried enough weapons to destroy an entire city. Captain Roy Henderson's voice came across all human frequencies from the flagship Retribution. Attention alien fleet. You have entered human space with hostile intent. Surrender now, or we will destroy you. The alien response was exactly what humans expected. 600 ships focused all their weapons on the asteroid platforms, trying to destroy what they still thought was a desperate human trick. They might as well have been throwing pebbles at a mountain. Dr. Amy Phillips's defensive technology had created energy shields that did not just block attacks. They absorbed enemy weapon energy and used it to make the shield stronger. Every alien shot made human defenses more powerful. Impossible, whispered Counselor Zethka. Our intelligence said their technology was barely beyond chemical rockets. Sir, his tactical officer reported with a shaking voice, we have lost 47 ships, and our weapons have no effect. I am also detecting something else. The human fleet finally appeared. They had not been hiding behind Earth or in the asteroid belt. They had been invisible, using stealth technology that made them impossible to detect on alien sensors. 300 human warships materialized around the alien formation like ghosts becoming real. The Titan-class battleships alone were bigger than anything in the alien fleet, but it was the smaller human ships that proved most terrifying. Human destroyers moved with impossible speed and grace, darting between alien ships like deadly fish in water. Lieutenant Colonel Jenny Brooks commanded the attack ship Havoc. She grinned as she watched alien vessels explode around her. Remember, people, they voted to kill us all. Show them what real killing looks like. The space battle was like nothing the galaxy had ever seen. Human ships moved in perfect coordination, while alien formations fell apart in confusion. Human weapons cut through alien armor like hot knives through butter. Alien weapons either missed their targets completely or made human shields stronger. Commander Ben Torres monitored alien communications from his intelligence ship, Whisper. The panic in alien voices was exactly what Earth had hoped for. The humans were ready for us. Their technology is beyond anything we have seen. We need immediate help, but help was not coming. The human attack was so fast and complete that the alien fleet could not even send messages for reinforcement. Captain Linda Shaw's stealth squadron hit the alien command ships first. Her ship shadow appeared next to Counselor Zethka's flagship like a nightmare becoming real. Her weapons tore through the Eternal Justice's hull in seconds. This is for the vote, Shaw said as her torpedoes destroyed the alien command center. Dr. Phillips watched the battle from her command station on Luna. Her screen showed alien ships dying by the dozens while human casualties remained almost zero. Their weapons are useless against our defenses, but our weapons go through their ships like they are made of paper. The turning point came when Lieutenant Sandra Price activated her digital warfare systems. She had spent 2 years learning how alien quantum communication networks worked. Now she turned those networks into weapons. Beginning quantum intrusion, Price reported calmly from her control center aboard the Prometheus. I have access to their fleet coordination systems. Suddenly, alien ships began firing on each other as their targeting systems were corrupted. Command vessels received false orders that sent them crashing into their own escort ships. The massive alien fleet began destroying itself from the inside while human forces watched in amazement. Their own ships are attacking each other, reported Captain Henderson. It is like watching them commit suicide. The battle lasted 4 hours. When it ended, fewer than 50 alien ships were still working, and those only because Admiral Sullivan had deliberately let them escape. Let them run, she ordered, as the surviving alien vessels fled toward the edge of the system. Let them tell their masters what they saw here today. Commander Torres listened to alien communications as they retreated. The terror in their voices was music to human ears. The humans were ready for us. They knew we were coming. Their technology is impossible. We need to warn everyone. The fleeing aliens sent desperate messages back to the Galaxy Council. Human military capability far exceeds all estimates. Recommend immediate full-scale mobilization of all Council forces. The human threat is real and immediate, but the Galaxy Council was in chaos. They had sent their best fleet to destroy a primitive species, and that fleet had been almost completely destroyed in a few hours. Panic spread through alien space as the news traveled. On Earth, President Janet Miller addressed the human population. Today, an alien fleet came to our home system to commit genocide. They wanted to kill every human man, woman, and child. Instead, we showed them that humanity will never bow to tyrants. The celebrations began on every human world. But in the depths of space, Admiral Sullivan was already planning the next phase. The defensive war was over. Now came the offensive war. All fleet commanders, she broadcast to human forces throughout the system, prepare for Phase 2. We are taking this war to them. The Galaxy Council had come to destroy Earth's potential threat. Instead, they had just announced to the galaxy that humanity was no longer asking for membership in their club. Humanity was coming to take over the club entirely. The real war was just beginning. 6 months after the Battle of Sol, human fleets had attacked 17 different alien worlds at the same time. The galaxy was in shock as species that had ruled their areas for thousands of years found themselves under attack by the primitive humans they had dismissed so easily. Admiral Kate Sullivan commanded the offensive from her mobile command station, the massive battleship Sovereign. Her strategy was simple and brutal. Find each species' weakness, attack it without mercy, and force immediate surrender rather than long wars. The tree-like Vorthak were the first to fall. Commander Ben Torres' intelligence had been perfect. Cutting their route network communications left their forces scattered and confused. Captain Linda Shaw's stealth squadrons hit their communication centers on 12 worlds at the same time, leaving the Vorthak unable to coordinate any defense. Vorthak High Command, Captain Roy Henderson transmitted from orbit around their homeworld. You have 24 hours to surrender completely. Any resistance will result in the total destruction of your military installations. The Vorthak, who had voted for Earth's quarantine because they feared human aggression, discovered that their worst nightmares had been too small. The crystalline resonance proved harder to defeat until Dr. Amy Phillips used her sonic weapons. The harmonic disruptors did not just shatter individual resonance. They created sound waves that could collapse entire crystal cities in minutes. Colonel Nick Hayes coordinated the ground assault on resonant core worlds. His power-armored Marines moved through the crystal cities like living earthquakes. Their sonic weapons turned ancient resonant structures into dust. It is like they built their entire civilization out of glass, reported Major Chris Davis, as his unit captured another resonant command center. Beautiful, but it breaks so easily. But humanity's most devastating victory came against the hegemony. This was the military alliance of 12 species that had first proposed quarantining humans. Their combined fleets represented the galaxy's most powerful naval force, 2,000 vessels that had never known defeat. They met Admiral Sullivan's full battle fleet at the Nexus Point, a strategic system controlling 3 major hyperspace routes. The aliens expected a normal space battle, fleet against fleet, matching firepower and tactics. Instead, they encountered something that military schools would study for centuries: the perfect combination of human creativity, technology, and ruthlessness. Commander Grace Wong had spent months preparing the Nexus system for this battle. What looked like empty space was actually filled with millions of self-copying nanomines. They were invisible to alien sensors but could attach to enemy hulls and explode in precise patterns. Captain Henderson coordinated the assault from Retribution, now upgraded with weapons that fired concentrated gravity fields. The graviton torpedoes did not just destroy enemy ships. They created tiny black holes that consumed entire formations, but the killing blow came from an unexpected source. Dr. Phillips had discovered that most alien species used quantum entanglement for faster-than-light communications. By introducing chaos programs into quantum space itself, human hackers could take control of alien communication systems and turn them into weapons. Lieutenant Sandra Price sat in her control center aboard the digital warfare ship Prometheus. "Starting quantum intrusion," she reported calmly. "I have access to their fleet coordination protocols." Within minutes, alien ships began firing on each other as their targeting systems were corrupted. Command vessels received false orders that sent them into collisions with their own escorts. The massive hegemony fleet destroyed itself from within, while human forces watched in amazement. "This is Fleet Admiral Korthex of the Hegemony Combined Fleet," came a desperate transmission. "We surrender. Please, we surrender unconditionally." Admiral Sullivan's response was broadcast across all human channels and intercepted by every surviving alien civilization. "Your surrender is acknowledged. All hegemony forces will proceed immediately to designated prisoner collection points. Any ship that deviates from assigned routes will be destroyed without warning." The Battle of Nexus Point lasted 6 hours and resulted in the capture or destruction of nearly 2,000 alien vessels. Human casualties numbered fewer than 300. The galaxy's balance of power had changed forever. News of the victory spread through human space like wildfire. On Mars Colony, workers in the weapons factories cheered as they heard the reports. On Luna Base, Dr. Phillips's research team celebrated by working even harder on new technologies. Throughout the asteroid belt, mining crews painted victory symbols on their ships. But not all alien species gave up easily. The proud Zentoran Empire refused to acknowledge human authority and tried to rally resistance among the Outer Rim worlds. They sent messages to every independent system. "The humans are a threat to all free species. We must unite against them before they conquer us all." General Hayes, now commanding Galactic Security Forces, decided to end the Zentoran rebellion with a single demonstration of human power. A gravity bomb dropped on an uninhabited Zentoran moon, compressed the entire satellite into a sphere 3 meters across. "Any questions about human capabilities?" he asked the stunned Zentoran leadership. The Zentoran Empire surrendered within hours. There were no more rebellions after that. The speed of human expansion amazed even humanity's leaders. Species that had taken centuries to explore their local star systems watched humans conquer entire sectors in months. Human technology was advancing so fast that each new fleet was more powerful than the last. Commander Torres, now head of Galactic Intelligence, had created a network of human agents and alien allies that knew everything happening in every system. The old boundaries between species began to disappear, replaced by a system where advancement was based on ability rather than which species you were born into. The old way was ruled by committee, Captain Henderson explained to his mixed species officer corps aboard the flagship Unity. 47 different opinions on every decision, 47 different ways to avoid taking action. Now we have clear command structure and clear goals. Dr. Phillips established the Galactic Scientific Development Program, with research stations in every major system. Her teams were discovering technologies that most alien species had never imagined, from reality manipulation drives to consciousness transfer systems. "The interesting thing is," she explained to a gathering of alien scientists, "your species spent so much time keeping things stable that you forgot how to grow. Humans never had that luxury. We have been struggling and changing our entire existence." The military transformation was even more dramatic. The new Galactic Patrol was a combined human-alien force that kept peace through overwhelming technological superiority and the promise of swift, decisive action against any threat. Human culture began spreading across the galaxy as fast as human fleets. Alien species discovered that human art, music, literature, and philosophy were more creative and emotionally rich than anything in their own traditions. Commander Wong established the first interspecies cultural exchange program, where young aliens could study on Earth and young humans could experience alien worlds. The program's waiting list extended for decades. They used to fear our aggression, she noted during a cultural exchange ceremony. Now they are learning that human passion includes much more than warfare. From Earth, President Janet Miller addressed both humanity and the surviving alien civilizations. The Galaxy Council voted to deny Earth membership and threatened our extinction. That vote has been overturned by a higher authority, the right of free peoples to exist and prosper. We are no longer asking for a place at your table. We are taking our rightful place as the galaxy's newest superpower. The transformation was remarkable in its speed and scope. Humanity's expansion across the galaxy was not the crude resource grabbing that aliens had feared. It was a systematic restructuring of galactic civilization along human principles of efficiency, innovation, and merit-based advancement. In just 2 years, the species that had been too dangerous to join the galactic community had become the force that ruled it. The galaxy had voted against Earth, fearing human aggression and rapid expansion. They had been absolutely right to be afraid. 2 years after the Battle of Nexus Point, the galaxy looked completely different from the civilization that had once voted to quarantine humanity. The Galaxy Council still existed, but only as a ceremonial group that approved decisions made by the new Terran Colonial Authority. Admiral Kate Sullivan, now called Supreme Fleet Commander, stood on the observation deck of the massive orbital station Terra Prime. She watched as representatives from 47 alien species arrived for the first galactic summit under human leadership. It is ironic, commented President Janet Miller, joining Sullivan at the big window. They refused to let us join their club, so we dissolved it and started our own. The change had been amazing in its speed and completeness. Humanity's expansion across the galaxy had not been the crude resource stealing that aliens had feared. It had been a systematic rebuilding of galactic civilization using human ideas of efficiency, innovation, and advancement based on merit. Dr. Amy Phillips, now Director of Galactic Scientific Development, had built research stations in every major system. Her teams were discovering technologies that most alien species had never dreamed possible, from reality-bending drives to systems that could transfer consciousness between bodies. The funny thing is, she explained to a gathering of alien scientists, your species spent so much time keeping things stable that you forgot how to grow. Humans never had that luxury. We have been struggling and evolving our entire existence. The military change was even more dramatic. Commander Ben Torres, now head of Galactic Intelligence, had created a network of human agents and alien allies that knew everything happening in every system. The old boundaries between species had disappeared, replaced by a system where advancement was based on ability rather than species. Captain Roy Henderson commanded the new Galactic Patrol, a combined human-alien force that kept peace through overwhelming technological superiority and the promise of swift, decisive action in any conflict. The old way was rule by committee, he explained to his mixed species officer corps aboard the flagship Unity. 47 different opinions on every decision, 47 different ways to avoid taking action. Now we have clear command structure and clear objectives. Not every species had adapted well to human leadership. The proud Zentoran Empire had refused to accept human authority and tried to rally resistance among the Outer Rim worlds. Their rebellion had lasted 3 days. Colonel Nick Hayes, now General of Galactic Security Forces, had ended the Zentoran uprising with a single demonstration of human military technology. A gravity bomb dropped on an empty Zentoran moon had compressed the entire satellite into a ball 3 meters wide. Any questions about human capabilities? He had asked the shocked Zentoran leadership. There had been no more rebellions after that. But perhaps the most important change was cultural. Human art, music, literature, and philosophy were spreading across the galaxy at light speed. Alien species were discovering that human creativity and emotional range far exceeded anything in their own traditions. Commander Grace Wong had established the first interspecies cultural exchange program, where young aliens could study on Earth and young humans could experience alien worlds. The program's waiting list stretched for decades. They used to fear our aggression, she noted during a cultural exchange ceremony. Now they are learning that human passion extends to much more than warfare. The old Galaxy Council chamber had been turned into a memorial, not to war, but to the transformation of galactic civilization. A holographic display showed the vote that had started it all. 46 against, 1 abstention, 0 in favor. Ambassador Jake Morrison, now Secretary General of the Galactic Authority, often brought visiting officials to see the memorial. They thought they were protecting themselves from human aggression, he would explain. They never realized they were protecting themselves from human potential. As the first Galactic Summit began, representatives from species across the galaxy gathered to formally approve the new order. The Terran Colonial Authority would provide military protection, technological advancement, and economic development in exchange for loyalty, cooperation, and a percentage of each world's resources. It was, in many ways, exactly what the original Galaxy Council had been designed to provide, except it actually worked. President Miller addressed the assembled delegates in the Great Hall of Terra Prime. 2 years ago, you voted that humanity was too dangerous to join your civilization. You were right. We were too dangerous for your old way of doing things, but we were not too dangerous for the galaxy. We were exactly what the galaxy needed. The vote to approve the new galactic charter was unanimous, 47 in favor, 0 opposed. Humanity had finally achieved membership in galactic civilization, not as junior partners begging for acceptance, but as the dominant force that would shape the galaxy's future for thousands of years to come. The transformation had benefits for everyone. Under human leadership, scientific advancement accelerated beyond anything the galaxy had ever seen. Dr. Phillips's research programs made discoveries every month that alien species had not made in centuries. Trade flowed more freely than ever before. Captain Henderson's galactic patrol eliminated piracy and conflict between systems. Economic prosperity reached even the poorest worlds as human efficiency and organization spread throughout galactic space. Cultural exchange flourished under Commander Wong's programs. Alien species learned human concepts of individual freedom, technological progress, and merit-based advancement. Humans learned alien wisdom about long-term thinking, environmental balance, and spiritual development. The judicial system was reformed under human principles of individual rights and equal treatment. General Hayes's security forces protected all species equally, whether they were human colonies or ancient alien civilizations. Lieutenant Sandra Price, now Minister of Galactic Communications, had created a quantum network that allowed instant communication across the entire galaxy. Information, ideas, and cultural exchanges flowed freely between all member worlds. But the greatest change was in the galaxy's future outlook. Under the old council system, species focused on maintaining the status quo and avoiding change. Under human leadership, the galaxy looked forward with excitement to new discoveries, new technologies, and new possibilities. We are not conquerors, President Miller explained in her address to the summit. We are liberators. We liberated the galaxy from stagnation, from committee rule, from the fear of progress that kept civilizations locked in place for millennia. The assembled alien delegates listened in respectful silence. Many of them privately admitted that their worlds were better off under human leadership than they had ever been under the old council system. In the end, the Galaxy Council's greatest mistake had not been underestimating human military capabilities or technological potential. Their greatest mistake had been giving humanity a reason to stop asking for permission and start taking what they deserved. The vote to ratify the new Galactic Charter passed without opposition. Every species that had once voted against human membership now voted to accept human leadership. The galaxy had voted against Earth because they thought humans were too dangerous. The verdict had indeed ignited their doom and humanity's rise to power. As the summit ended and alien delegations prepared to return to their homeworlds, Admiral Sullivan stood again at the observation window of Terra Prime. Ships from dozens of species moved in perfect coordination under human traffic control. Alien and human crews worked together on vessels flying the flag of the Terran Colonial Authority. Do you think they regret their vote now? President Miller asked, joining her old friend at the window. Sullivan smiled. I think they understand now that they were right to be afraid. They just did not understand that fear was not going to protect them. The galaxy stretched out before them, united under human leadership, prosperous, peaceful, and growing toward a future brighter than any species had ever imagined possible. The Council had voted to contain humanity's dangerous potential. Instead, they had unleashed it upon the stars. Jake Morrison looked out at the stars through the bridge window of his ship. 3 days ago, those same stars had been peaceful. Now they were filled with alien warships that wanted to destroy everything he loved. The communication system made a soft beeping sound. Maya Chen turned from her station and looked at him with worried eyes. "Sir, the aliens want to talk again." Jake nodded. He knew this moment would come. The Vorthak had given humanity 3 days to think about their demands. Now time was up. The main screen flickered to life, showing the alien commander. The creature was tall and looked like a giant lizard walking on 2 legs. It had 4 arms, yellow eyes that seemed to glow, and sharp teeth that clicked when it spoke. Jake had seen this alien before, but it still made his skin crawl. "Humans," the alien said in a voice that sounded like rocks grinding together. "We are Commander Zerath of the Vorthak hegemony. You have had enough time to think about our offer. What is your answer?" Jake stepped aside as Admiral Kate Sullivan walked forward. She was a small woman, but everyone on the ship knew she was the toughest person in the human fleet. She had fought in wars before, and had scars on her face and hands to prove it. Her gray hair was pulled back tight and her blue eyes were as cold as ice. "We thought about it," Sullivan said in a calm voice. "Our answer is no." The alien's mouth opened wider, showing more of those sharp teeth. The sound it made might have been laughter. "Foolish humans. Do you not understand your situation? We have counted your ships. We have 500 warships. You have only 10. We have weapons that can destroy your cities from space. We have armor that your weapons cannot scratch. We have conquered 17 different worlds. You are nothing but insects trying to fight giants." Sullivan did not move. She did not look afraid. "You came to our home. You threatened our families. You demanded that we become your slaves. Did you really think we would say yes? Then you choose to die," Commander Zerath said. His 4 arms moved over control panels that Jake could not understand. "We gave you a chance to live. We offered to let some of you work for us. Now we will kill every human in this system." "Maybe," Sullivan said. She was still calm, like she was talking about the weather. "But you made one big mistake." "What mistake could insects make that would matter to us?" the alien asked. Sullivan smiled, but it was not a happy smile. It was the kind of smile a wolf might have before attacking. "You said you wanted a war. You wanted to see if we could fight. Well, Commander Zerath, you are about to learn something that no alien species has ever seen before. You are about to witness humanity's art of war." The alien commander looked confused for a moment. Then the screen went dark. Jake looked around the bridge. Every person there was scared. He could see it in their eyes and the way they held their shoulders. They all knew the truth. The Vorthak were right about the numbers. Humanity was outnumbered 50 to 1. The alien weapons were better. Their ships were bigger and stronger. But Jake also saw something else in the faces around him. He saw anger. He saw determination. He saw people who would rather die fighting than live on their knees. "Maya," Sullivan said, "send a message to all human ships and stations. Tell them Operation Last Stand is now active." Maya's fingers moved quickly over her controls. "Message sent, Admiral." Sullivan turned to look at everyone on the bridge. "I know what you are all thinking. The numbers look bad. Their technology is better than ours. In a fair fight, we would lose in 10 minutes. She paused and looked at each person in the room. "Good thing we are not planning to fight fair." Jake felt a chill run down his back. He had served with Admiral Sullivan for 3 years, but he had never heard her talk like this before. "The Vorthak think they know what war is," Sullivan continued. "They think war is about having the biggest ships and the most powerful weapons. They think it is about honor and fighting face to face. They have conquered 17 worlds because those worlds tried to fight them the way the Vorthak wanted to fight." She walked over to the window and looked out at the alien fleet. The enemy ships were huge, each one the size of a small city. Their hulls were black metal that seemed to drink in the starlight. Weapon ports glowed red along their sides like angry eyes. But humans learned how to fight wars against other humans. Sullivan said, "We learned that the biggest army does not always win. We learned that sometimes the best way to win is to make the enemy think they are winning until it is too late. We learned that the most important weapon in any war is not a gun or a bomb. It is the mind." Jake understood now. He had read about human history in school. He knew about the small armies that had defeated big ones. He knew about the tricks and traps that had won battles that should have been lost. He knew about the generals who had turned defeat into victory by thinking in ways their enemies never expected. "All stations, prepare for combat," Sullivan ordered. "But remember, we are not trying to destroy their fleet. That would be impossible. We are trying to teach them something they have never learned before." "What are we trying to teach them?" Maya asked. Sullivan's smile became even colder. "That humans do not fight wars the way other species fight wars. We do not line up our ships and shoot at each other until one side gives up. We study our enemies. We learn their weaknesses. We adapt, we change. We become whatever we need to become to win." Outside the window, the WarHFY fleet began to move. The massive ships turned toward Earth like a pack of metal wolves closing in on their prey. Energy weapons began to charge, creating a glow that could be seen across the solar system. But Jake was no longer afraid. He was excited. For the first time since the aliens had arrived, he felt like humanity had a chance. Not because their ships were better or their weapons stronger, but because Admiral Sullivan was right about one thing. The WarHFY had never fought humans before. They had no idea what they were getting into. "All ships," Sullivan said into her communicator. "This is Admiral Sullivan. The enemy wants to see how we fight. Let us show them something they will never forget." Lisa Parker sat in the captain's chair of her ship and watched the 3 WarHFY fighters get closer on her screen. Her ship, the Hampton, looked broken and helpless as it drifted between the rocks of the asteroid belt. The engines were dark. The weapons were off. To anyone watching, it looked like her ship was dead. That was exactly what she wanted them to think. "How long until they get here?" she asked quietly. Ben Hayes, her weapons officer, checked his screen. 2 minutes, Captain. They are moving slow. I think they want to capture us instead of destroy us, Lisa nodded. The WarHFY were proud warriors who liked to take prisoners. It made them feel powerful. Today, that pride would be their weakness. The alien fighters were beautiful in a deadly way. They were shaped like silver arrows with energy weapons that glowed blue along their wings. Each one was twice the size of a human fighter and could probably destroy a small city by itself. But the pilots inside those fighters had never fought humans before. They had never learned that humans would do anything to win. They had never learned that humans were very good at pretending to be something they were not. "Remember the plan?" Lisa said to her crew. "We wait until they are very close. We wait until they think they have won. Then we show them what a real fight looks like." The Hampton had been modified in secret over the past 3 days. What looked like battle damage was actually hidden weapons. What looked like broken hull plates were actually armor designed to open up and reveal surprises. Even the crew had been changed. Instead of normal sailors, Lisa now had soldiers who knew how to fight and die for their home. 30 seconds, Ben said. His voice was calm, but Lisa could see sweat on his forehead. The lead WarHFY fighter was close enough now that Lisa could see details. The pilot was probably looking at her ship and feeling proud. Another easy victory. Another group of humans who would surrender without a real fight. "Now," Lisa said. Everything happened at once. The Hampton's engines roared to life with a sound like thunder. Hidden panels opened all along the ship's hull, revealing missile launchers that had been installed just for this moment. The ship that had seemed dead suddenly moved like a striking snake. The WarHFY pilots had maybe 1 second to realize they had been tricked. It was not enough time. The first fighter exploded in a ball of fire and metal. The pilot never even had time to scream. The second fighter tried to turn away, but Lisa had expected that. Her ship rammed into it at full speed, crushing it like an egg. The third pilot was better than his friends. He managed to send a radio message before his ship was destroyed. "Warning to all WarHFY forces. The humans are using trick ships. The damaged vessels are not what they appear to be." But his warning came too late. All across the solar system, the same scene was playing out. Human ships that had seemed helpless suddenly came alive. Mining stations that looked abandoned revealed themselves as weapon platforms. Even civilian cargo ships opened up to show military weapons. On his flagship, Commander Zerath watched his casualty reports and felt something he had never experienced before: confusion, fear. His perfect formation of hunting groups was being destroyed by ships that should not have been able to fight. "Back, how is this possible?" he demanded of his tactical officer. "Our sensors showed those ships were damaged. Our intelligence reports said humans fight with honor." The tactical officer was a veteran who had fought in many wars. His scarred face looked troubled. "Sir, I think our intelligence was wrong. Humans do not fight with honor. They fight to win. Zerath's forearms moved over his controls as he tried to understand what was happening. His fleet had divided into smaller groups to hunt down scattered human ships. It was a good strategy that had worked on 17 other worlds, but the humans were not fighting like the other species. They were not trying to protect their ships or their lives. They were using their ships as weapons. They were pretending to be weak when they were strong. They were turning every battle into a trap. "Sir," another officer reported, "we are getting reports from all hunting groups. They say the humans are fighting in ways that make no sense. Some ships are ramming our fighters. Others are exploding themselves to take out our larger vessels. They do not seem to care about their own survival." Zerath felt cold inside his armored skin. He had conquered many species, but they had all fought to survive. They had all tried to protect their ships and their lives. But humans seemed willing to throw everything away just to hurt their enemies. Back on the Hampton, Lisa Parker was dying. The ramming attack had saved her crew, but it had broken her ship in half. She floated in her captain's chair, looking at the stars through a cracked window, and smiled. Ben Hayes was beside her, also hurt, but still alive. "Did we get them all, Captain?" "Yes," Lisa said. Her voice was weak, but she sounded happy. "All 3 fighters destroyed. Mission complete." She reached for her radio with a hand that shook from pain. "Admiral Sullivan, this is Captain Parker. Hunting Group 7 has been eliminated. The enemy now knows we can fight back." Sullivan's voice came through the static. "Well done, Captain. Your sacrifice will not be forgotten." Lisa closed her eyes and thought about her daughter back on Earth. She thought about all the children who might live because she and her crew had chosen to die. It was a good trade. Across the solar system, other human crews were making the same choice. Captain Morris Webb used his fighter squadron to destroy a Vorthak battleship by flying his ships directly into its weapons. Commander Rachel Stone sacrificed her entire station to take out an enemy cruiser. Lieutenant Danny Foster crashed his transport into a Vorthak command ship, killing everyone on board including himself. Each attack taught the Vorthak something new about humans. Each sacrifice showed them that this was not like their other wars. The humans were not fighting to win glory or to protect their territory. They were fighting to teach their enemies a lesson about what happened when someone threatened human families. On his flagship, Commander Zerath read report after report of losses that should not have been possible. His perfect fleet was being hurt by an enemy that should have been crushed in the first hour of battle. "Sir," his tactical officer said, "I am detecting a pattern. The humans are not trying to win individual fights. They are studying us." "Studying us?" Zerath asked. "What do you mean?" "Every attack they make teaches them something about our ships, our weapons, our tactics. They are learning how we fight. And sir, I think they are preparing something bigger." Zerath looked at the tactical display showing his fleet. He still had more than 400 ships. The humans had maybe 6 or 7 left. By every rule of war he knew, he was still winning. But for the first time in his long military career, Commander Zerath was not sure that the rules he knew would be enough.